What is up, everyone? I am Joe DeHoyos. I am host of Beyond the Woodline. Real quick, before I get started, just want to talk a little bit about myself and what I have going on. For those of you guys who don't know, I am a member of the JRG, which stands for the Jevening Research Group. We research and investigate Bigfoot sightings all over the country. We have teams all over the country. We have teams in California, New Mexico, here in Texas, where I'm at, Florida, Louisiana, Tennessee, Virginia, New York State, Oklahoma, and I know I'm missing a few other states. But if you guys are interested and you guys want to join the search, just shoot me a message or email me at beyond.woodline@gmail.com. I'll answer you guys. We will vet you. We will vet anyone we set you up with, just because there are, unfortunately, some crazy people out there in this world. And we want to make sure everyone takes care of themselves. If you're in a state that doesn't have a team and you want to start your own, you're more than welcome to do that. And if you're in a state and there's a team, but you want to start your own team, man, just start your own team. That's fine with us too. But like I said, we're going to vet you. We'll vet anyone we set you up with. And we ask you to do the same too. And I think that goes for any field that you're in. If you're going to go meet somebody, check them out. We always say research the researcher, because, you got to take care of yourselves, and we all got to take care of each other too. So with all that being said, I know you guys don't tune in to hear me ramble all night long. I have with me members of Twisted Memories Paranormal, Angi, Ash, and Angela.
Yes.
Right? Right? Okay, good deal. If you don't mind, tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you involved in this crazy field we find ourselves in.
Oh, wow. So I'm the founder of our team. But, the three of us, we actually met about a year ago. Well, Ash and I have known each other for about 4.5, 5 years, but we were all part of another team. And then back in May, the three of us had the opportunity to, go on an investigation, just the three of us. And Ash and I had been kind of talking about, branching out and, wanting to kind of go a different direction and do things bigger than where our original team was at. And we had expressed that to Angela, and she had the same views as us. And we had all, already been friends. And, we laid it on the table, hey, if you ever find yourself in that situation, to where you want to join up with us, the offer's on the table. And within a couple of weeks, if even that long,
I think it was a couple of days.
Yeah, I think it was a couple of days. We officially became a full-fledged team, and that's been just over 2 months ago.
Oh, wow. So you guys are fairly new then as a team.
Yeah, as the team of Twisted Memories, yeah. I've been investigating off and on for the better part of 25 years. And then Ash,
I've been investigating professionally for about a year, as long as I was with our other team. I obviously experienced paranormal, audio, visual, and just different experiences throughout my life, but never really kind of did anything on an investigative level until this past year.
And then I've been kind of informally investigating almost as long as Angi, and then really started to kind of go with different teams, 10 or 15 years ago.
And who came up with the name for the team?
So I did. I sat there and I knew that my first goal was to come up with a team name that wasn't already taken, because nobody wants, multiples of the same team. And then I wanted something that was meaningful to to me without kind of, being very specific to one location. And Ash and I had gotten really to talking about it, and we came up with the thought process of, every location that you investigate has memories, and those memories along the way get twisted. And so that's where Twisted Memories came from.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. And when I saw the name, I kind of thought that. So I really like that name. I think it's a very good name. It's got a good story to it too. Um,
Thank you.
yeah. So what was your first, and this for all three of you guys to answer. Um, what was your first experience that made you say, okay, there is something beyond this world, right? There is something paranormal.
Oh
Ooh.
gosh. I think for me, I was like 8 years old, and I lived with my grandparents growing up. And I played the piano, so we had a piano at home. And my nana, my grandmother, we were in the living room, and she was laying on her couch. We were watching the evening shows or whatever it was that we would watch, and a couple of keys started playing on my piano. Just there's nobody there, And I looked at my grandmother, and she's like, "Oh, that's probably," I think she said, her grandmother. So it would be my great great grandmother. And so that for me kind of piqued an interest. And I always kind of kept that at the forefront of my mind growing up. And so I continued growing my interests and doing my research and investigating.
Yeah. I always find it fascinating when musical instruments get played, and the piano is one of those instruments that to me it's still kind of creepy, even if it's not anything evil. People in quotes, right? It's still kind of creepy. But I've heard people talk about guitars, hearing their guitars being strummed. I always find that very fascinating. And yeah, like I said, it's still kind of will make those chills run down your spine, even if that's not the intention.
Yeah.
And what about you, Ash? What was your incident that made you realize there's something beyond this realm?
I know I had one incident around the age of 8, but it didn't really make me. It still makes me question to this day if something I couldn't explain, or if maybe a particular object was messed up. So I would say for real, would be about when I was 12. Um, I lived in a very old house at the time in a small town, and in the basement, the way it was set up, there was a flat basement, but it had a raised cement area, and it looked like about the size of an outhouse. And it was just its own certain room in a basement that had a red or blue painted door. It was just very odd to me. I never liked it. It was very creepy. And I remember doing dishes one time with my cousin upstairs, and I heard knocking. And I was like, what is that? I think it's coming from the basement. Well, you have to walk down like half the steps, the concrete steps, to flip the light. And so I went down there halfway, didn't hear anything, came back up, I heard knocking again. So I knocked back 3 times, and something knocked back 3 times with me. And I was like, okay, I could tell it was coming from that door that's never been opened and locked. So that kind of started me on that, where there's something down there that it made me curious.
Yeah, and knocking is one of those other things too that that's kind of freaky, and that just shows you that's something intelligent. You knock 3 times, it knocks back 3 times, right? And you hear
Right.
stuff like that where people say, you know what, I did 3, I did 2, I did 4, and so something is there, something intelligent is responding to you. I think that says a lot about entities that are around, the spirits or ghosts or whatever people want to call that, Um, and what about you, Angela? What was your experience that made you
I had
realize?
I had some stuff happen when I was a kid, like really little, and my parents kind of blew me off. And so I had things growing up and as a teenager, but I think the one that like stands out in my mind the most that like kind of changed everything, where I kind of quit like hiding that I had these beliefs in the paranormal, was I had a really dear friend of mine that passed away, and he and I had been friends as little kids. He moved away, and we just kind of randomly reconnected in college. Um, and so anyway, he was a type 1 diabetic and died really unexpectedly at 26 years old. And I was really upset about it. He was one of my best friends, and my husband one day was gone at work, and I was at home, and I woke up, and had that feeling of like somebody's in the room with me, and nobody is supposed to be here. And I woke up and sat up, and I saw a white mist get up, like somebody had been sitting on the bed, get up and leave, and I knew that it was him. And like I said, I had other things happen, but that one was so like in my face, like I am not asleep, I am not a kid, there's nobody here, it was not an animal. And it just kind of changed everything for me, and I really dove into investigating, and not kind of hiding that I believe in ghosts, that sometimes we do with people who look at you like you're crazy when you tell them these stories.
Yeah. But yeah, it's funny because that's kind of like what happened with me. Is like I used to never tell anyone about my beliefs in Bigfoot and paranormal and UFOs. I kind of kept that to myself. But then somewhere along the way, I decided, you know what, I'm not gonna stop hiding it so much. I was a lot more open with it. I didn't really broadcast it like I do now, but it didn't take long. And then people started coming to me, friends and family, and so it was like, okay, I know that they don't think I'm crazy anymore. So it's always fun when people come to you and it's like, hey, you know what? I know you're into this. What do you think about this incident that happened to me? Or they'll tell you about somebody else that they knew, right? It's always fun. And um, I didn't get to experience anything paranormal. We were talking about that before we got off. I mean, before we came on the air. Um, but my first experience was when we moved into that new house across the street from my ex-in-laws, and I wasn't even there 2 days. I was laying in bed, and I felt somebody get on the bed, and I thought it was my boxer. I had a big boxer. He was a 75-pound boxer, and I felt somebody sit on the bed, or I felt the bed go down, like somebody had sat down, and right away I thought it was my dog, and I sat up. I was going to tell him, "Get your ass off the bed," because he wasn't allowed on the bed. And I sat up and there was nobody there. And a few days later, it happened again. And I sat up real quick and nobody there. And I walk out into the house and my family was cooking breakfast. And I was like, hey, this house is haunted. And everyone was like, yeah, it is. It is. And they started telling me their stories that they had within that, 2 week time. So it was pretty fun. Um, but as far as you guys go, is there any experience that you've had that still kind of sticks with you guys?
Oh,
Any experiences?
Well, maybe like one experience that really sticks with you that you kind of either can't explain or you just kind of just think about all the time.
So, when my father-in-law passed away a few years ago, he the way that our house at the time was set up was like our laundry room and mudroom, like it went into the backyard. We used to have this wooden kind of like a shelving unit. Well, we used to keep the dog leashes back there, and they were the retractable kind. Well, one of them, I'm standing in the kitchen, which is right next to that room. I watched one of those leashes go flying from across, like from the shelf and it hit the wall across the room. and then the chandelier light above us just swaying, not like violently or anything, but just swaying. Now, I am without a doubt positive that that was my father-in-law letting us know. But at the same time, it's like, but was it? And so,
Oh man, this one. I would say I have two very prominent ones. They're both visual. The first one I don't really want to go into detail about, but I know the second one was, I believe, earlier this year. We were at a location and we went into the basement. There's some tunnels down there.
Oh.
And I was with Angi and can I say?
yeah.
And I was with a member of the Explorers, Zach, and I can't remember how it went. I think some cat balls were going off behind me, and there's a hole behind me that leads into a whole separate area that used to be tunnels under the street. And we were like, okay, I guess you want me to go in there. And it's completely dark. I'm just using, I'm using the glow of my phone, and I'm taking pictures with flash. And I get to a particular area, and I can actually see a mist forming in front of me through my phone, in front of my eyes. And I take a picture. There's about a glow. I have a picture with like a little bit of a glow and green in the corner, but it rose up just right in front of me. And I wasn't scared. I felt like it was there to protect me.
Didn't we get the arm?
Yeah, we got part of the arm. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to guess this is as far as I go. So I turn around and I can hear footsteps on the rocks behind me until I get back out. Well, when I tell Angi and Zach what had happened, they look at each other because around the same time frame, because I have it timestamped on a photo, they got an EVP through the spirit box saying, "Did you see me?"
Yep.
Oh, I think his mic went out.
Oh, your mic is muted.
Can you hear me now?
There
Yes.
it is.
Okay, good. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody hit my mic, so maybe it was one of the spirits that want us talking about them. There you go.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's. Man, I like that. That's really cool. Did you see me?
Are you going to bring up
Yeah.
that? I knew you were going to.
So the story that I just told is one of the big ones. But past that, a very recent experience, and Angi was there for it. We were at the same place we were investigating last night, and this was last fall. And this upstairs of this house has kind of 3 rooms, and they all connect. So I'm sitting in a room at the front of the house. There's a room in the middle of the house that there's a man sitting in. And in the back room, there's 2 women sitting in that room. And we were all just kind of listening and asking questions and, watching to see what lights up. And the man in the middle room decided he was going to go downstairs. So he gets up and walks down the stairs. And I decide, you know what? I've been up here for a while. I'm going to go too. So I get up pretty much immediately after him. I'm walking down the stairs, and he's still on the stairs while I'm on the stairs. So we walk all the way down the stairs. We turn the corner. We go into the main room with everybody. And all of a sudden, we hear all this commotion upstairs, like screaming. The women in the far room were screaming, and they were like, "Angela, are you still up here?" And I said, "No, I'm downstairs." And they said, "That's not possible." So what happened was after I was already downstairs, they heard my voice from that room that I had just exited, but they heard my voice ask them a question. And so we had kind of a mimic situation going on, and everybody saw me downstairs at the same time that this happened. So there was no way that they could confuse, that I had made it up or I had said this and then ran down the stairs. It was pretty weird to know that something was mimicking my voice. Mic is out again.
Your mic went out again.
Sorry about that. These spirits don't want us talking. I don't know why. But yeah, mimic. mimicking always kind of does freak me out, and I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but that's one of the things that actually does like legit kind of gets me kind of weirded out a little bit.
Yeah.
What do you guys make of that?
Hmm.
I'm not sure. I mean, at that location, I feel like it's just kind of a trickster energy. It is a little bit freaky, but I've never felt in danger there, and I've been several times now. I just think it's kind of a trickster energy. Um, as long as it's just my voice, I haven't had any experience with doppelgangers, although I've heard people, you know, seeing
Right.
somebody or, having experiences. When you hear about those are even more freaky to me, which I haven't had that experience yet. But yeah, at least in this case, I think it's just kind of a trickster energy.
Yeah, I mean, because we frequent that location.
Okay.
So I think knowing what we know now,
Yeah.
we can safely say that it is definitely.
Yeah, that was my first time in that house. So
Yeah, that was
so
ours.
initially it was kind of freaky because I had never been there
Oh my
before, and
gosh.
now I've been several times. But
That first time, man,
it was a doozy.
our first time there, it was the best experience, but it was
It was a lot.
a lot. It was the craziest. It was the scariest. It was
Okay.
a lot, but yet I keep going back.
Right. And that kind of leads us to our next to my next question. What is the scariest experience that you've ever had?
I would have to say, like, I mean, if we're talking like scariest at like places we've investigated, or are we talking scariest like personally? Because those are,
yeah.
for me, those are two different questions.
Yeah, well, what's the scariest thing that's ever happened to you that in the paranormal world, of course, you know,
Like
whether you guys are,
overall,
yeah, like overall.
oh my gosh, I don't even know.
State hospital.
Oh,
Your story, just because it involved kids. To me, that was
okay,
scary.
yeah.
That story
So,
really scared me when I.
Yeah. So there is an old state hospital here that it's been shut down forever. I investigated it. I took my wife and my son, and we went and investigated it. And I was just, taking pictures randomly. She's over there. She's like, that was creepy. And when I was reviewing, there was a picture of a little girl, and who I would say she's probably about 6 years old, maybe. And when I was reviewing the mini recorder, so my son's nickname is Bubby, and we call my grandson Monkey. Now, my grandson at the time, he was less than a year old. And so on the EVP, you hear, "Hi, Bubby. Where's Monkey?"
Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, I'm like, as a mom and as a grandmother, I'm like,
Right.
no. But even just talking about this, like I'm getting goosebumps, like from like my head to my toes. Like
Right.
it
So
was definitely scary or creepy. I don't know.
yeah. So was there any way to know who said that? Like which spirit it was? Okay.
There's really no way of knowing, because the location, like where that was taken at, it was part of like the children's ward part
Oh,
of the
gotcha.
old state hospital.
Okay. Was it in a
And so,
children's voice and a child's voice?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Hmm.
it was very much a child's voice. It matched the photograph the entity that we caught in that photograph of the little girl. the
Okay.
6-year-old spirit, the one that looked about 6 years old.
Okay. All right. And what about you, Ash? Have you had an experience that kind of rattled you a little bit?
Um, I would say when I was about, I'm thinking 16 or 17, somewhere in there. We had permanently moved in with my mom and my stepfather at the time. And due to my brother's behavior, I ended up getting the basement. My parents had to move upstairs into the master bedroom. And so the way it's set up is there's a living room and then there's a side room with it's kind of a master bedroom for the basement. And I remember getting home late from work, and there would be times where my CD player would just randomly turn on, switch songs, go to AM, FM radio, nothing too out of the crazy ordinary. But this one night, I remember hearing someone coming down the stairs, but it sounded like they were crawling down the stairs. That freaks me out in general. I don't like that sound of what sounds like, nails or claws or whatever scratching across the floor. I don't like that noise. I don't like that sound. So it sounded like that to me. And when I would turn my back, the noise would start up and it would sound like something was crawling closer. And then when I would turn to face it, it would stop. And so that went on for a period of about 3 hours, between 2:30 and 5:30 a.m. And it really scared me because it was smart enough to stop when I would try to face whatever was there, and then start back up. But it kind of reminded me of like horror movies where you see something crawling around. That's the best way I could describe it. And it's always very much unnerved me. Even to this day, a lot of things happen between 2:30 and 5:30 a.m. To me to this day, ever since that incident happened when I was younger. Yeah, that's why when I was at the cemetery last night at 3 a.m., I was like freaking out because it was during that time.
Gotcha.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, that was the scariest incident that's followed me.
Okay. And what about you, Angela?
I don't know if I'm lucky enough to not have too many things that it like really freaked me out. I mean, the mimic was freaky, and I've had a couple of different things, but I guess the one that I remember that really scared me is like stuff from when I was a kid. And especially because like when I told my parents about it, they just really blew me off. So I remember waking up one day in my room and it was fully light outside and my door was open and I can see down the hall to my parents' room, but I can hear something at the end of my bed and I can hear it breathing. And we did not have a dog in the house. There's no pets. There's no reason that I should hear. I mean, I could audibly hear breathing and I was fully awake. I did, even though I don't even know how old I was, but I know I was like still grade school age. But I do remember being like, am I awake? And I'm like, no, I'm awake. It is light outside. It's bright. I could look down the hall. My parents are in bed. We didn't have a pet, but I hear breathing. And I remember like telling myself to crawl to the end of the bed and just look over the edge. And I got about halfway down my bed and I was like, nope. And I got up, I stood up on my bed and leaped off of my bed because I was also afraid as any kid is like, is it under my bed? And I ran down the hall and got one of my parents, and they came back because I was pretty hysterical. And there was nothing, and the breathing, there was nothing there. The breathing had stopped. I didn't hear it anymore. But they just told me that I was sleeping or, that I had imagined it. But it's vivid. I mean, I was pretty little and I remember it vividly and it scared the crap out of me.
I do have a question for you, but real quick, my buddy Don from Don't Whistle at Night podcast is tuning in. Thanks a lot for tuning in, Don. If you want to get scared and get creeped out, check out his podcast. He's got some great guests and got some great stories. But I did want to ask you, Angela, can you describe the breathing?
It was just normal breathing, like just really loud, like
okay.
Like almost like if an animal were asleep at the end of your bed and you can hear a dog breathing, but we didn't have a dog that was inside our house. So,
Scott's snoring.
yeah, it was just weird. It wasn't snoring, but it was just like an animal that is like really deeply breathing. And I didn't know what it was. I remember, in my head thinking it's a dog, but then I'm like, we don't have a dog in the house. Like when we had outside dogs, we never let them in. And then getting scared and freaked out because I was also one of those kids that checked out every paranormal book in the library and, has certain pictures. And so I'm imagining like a weird goblin or something at the end of my bed. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You talking about we've talked about like voices and hearing breathing and even pictures, right? Or seeing mist. What's some of the best evidence that you've captured?
I would say probably some of the best evidence that I've captured. Oh man, so much of it has come from, the 1858 Garnet House Hotel. Between my body cam and video footage and, just cell phone footage and, just experiences themselves.
Visually, the last few times.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
There, like,
visually the last few times, or even if you backtrack it to mine and Angela's first time there, I would say, but probably some of the best has been, just the responsiveness that, and the interaction that the spirits have had with the equipment on cue. When we've been able to capture that on footage, or even when we've been going live for that.
yes.
And so for me, that's been some of the best evidence.
Right. Yeah. What about you, Ash?
I mean, I would have to say it's a lot of the interactions between, with the 1858 Garnet, and then I would like to say the Aurora brothel as well, but
The cemetery. Remember our first trip to the cemetery? We took them.
and yeah. So, I mean, I would have most likely have to agree with Angie about the responsiveness. Like, I remember the very first investigation I did was at the cemetery out here, and we're just learning about the dead bell, a piece of equipment we had just got, and we had placed it on, I believe it was a child's.
It's thought to be.
It's thought to be a child's tomb. And we caught an EVP of a little child going, "Hi," clear as day. And then I believe the dead bell went off.
That went crazy.
It was going crazy. And that was like evidence wise where an EVP matched a response toward equipment hand in hand, sink in sync, that was probably the best. And then a lot of the activity in regards to we're going to use Garnet a lot. We go there monthly basically. And so, it's, I would say the brothel as well, the Aurora brothel. Unfortunately, a lot of that was more visual, and the things that were heard and seen were not captured evidence-wise, but I know I have them right up here.
Right.
That will never go away.
What about you, Angela? What's some of your best evidence that you've?
I think same. It's just sometimes it's not. I feel like sometimes the evidence that you capture is not always evidence that other people would look at and believe because they weren't there experiencing it.
Yeah.
So, you capture an EVP or you capture a photo and you're like, you take those series of photos and there's something there. there's something not there, there's something there, there's something not there again, those kinds of things. The brothel is super, super responsive. And so sometimes we don't always get everything, but, asking questions and getting a response pretty much immediately, something falling down or, just the same things that Angie and Ash have said. It's the same sort of, I don't have a super specific example, but I think probably my best evidence would be from the Aurora brothel for sure.
Okay.
Or from 1858, sorry.
Okay. And can you tell me more about this brothel? Because y'all mentioned it a couple of times. I'm curious about its history.
Oh yeah, the Aurora brothel.
Uh-huh.
So, oh my gosh. So I'm not even sure what year.
Yeah.
I'm not for sure what the years are. But I believe the website or the Facebook page is
The haunted
the Haunted Aurora Brothel, and it's in Aurora, Missouri. And the owner, her name is Myra. She's amazing. So the main level of it is a like an antique thrift shop, and upstairs is where it used to be a brothel back in like saloon times.
Okay.
And so yeah, there's quite a bit of activity there. Like I said, there's also Zach told us that when they've been there from Explorers of the Afterlife, I believe Zach said that they found out that so across the street and down a few doors, there used to be a tunnel that connected the brothel to the saloon.
Yeah, I believe
Okay.
it's mobsters.
Yes, mobsters.
Okay.
Prohibition days.
Yep, during Prohibition. That's how they transported the alcohol, and the higher end ladies were upstairs, whereas the lower end ladies were downstairs in the basement,
Okay.
from my understanding.
Has anybody ever looked for this tunnel or found this tunnel? That'd be interesting to check out.
It's been sealed up.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It is sealed up.
Yeah, it's sealed up now.
Okay.
But there's quite a bit of activity in that basement. And so
Yeah.
we're actually, our team, we are going back August 22nd.
Okay. Cool.
So
Yeah.
we're going back there to investigate.
All right. And Don has a question. He says, had they had a spirit follow them home?
Well,
Funny you should ask, right? Yeah.
Surprise, surprise.
what had happened was, yes, I had a friend come home with me from the Garnet House Hotel a couple weeks ago.
What was it? No, it would have been last Saturday.
Was it? Okay. Anyways,
Because
when
we
we were
were
there on the
there
second,
Mm-hmm.
a friend came home with me. And so on the third, my Ash and I were sitting out here in the living room, and my wife came out and she asked me, she said, "Were you just in the bedroom?" "No, why?" Well, I guess she felt somebody go like this lightly on her on the back of her leg. And then she felt somebody kind of lightly push her a little bit, and then push her a little bit harder. And I was like, "No, babe." I was like, "I didn't do that." And she's like, "Well, you need to tell your friends that they need to go back home." So I went in and I had a little conversation. I said, "Look, this is my house, not yours. You need to go back. You're not welcome here, and you are not welcome to touch anybody here. That is final. And after that, no problems."
Okay. And what about you, Ash? Anybody ever follow you home?
I don't know. That basement light likes to go on and off.
Yeah, no. I'm not quite, to be honest, I couldn't give a definitive yes or no. If something has followed me home. I know, I want to say, I think it was so we were at an event on the 26th at the Garnett House. And our dog Jack, the one that was kind of hanging out up here on the couch, I think it was the next day, I noticed him being extremely weird the next night, where he was watching something in my room.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm in the basement and I have video of it. He's like sitting there just watching. He's looking around. He's looking under my bed, and I'm like, no, don't be looking under the bed. Don't do that. And he refused to get on the bed, be near the bed. He would back off. So something caught his attention that I couldn't see. And it was like that for a couple hours. I don't know if something had followed or possibly something had just stopped on by. I do know that I have a motion sensor light on the stairwell. And that lovely thing likes to go off a couple times before I pass out. And then anytime after 2 a.m., it will constantly go off. And Jack is downstairs. He sleeps in my room down in the basement. And he's right next to me, so it's not him. So, yeah, the first week that it would do that, I would tell whomever it was, let me sleep, because I work a lot. And then now it's just like, whatever, just please don't wake me up.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? We kind of did that at the old house I was at. We were like, we don't care if you stay here. Your mother. We figured it was the original owners of the house, because they were the only owners of that house the whole time. They bought it shortly after World War II, and and they died in their 90s, and so it had to have been them, right? And like I said, maybe my dad came and visit a few times, but for the most part, we think it was the original owners, and we were like, hey, this is your house. We know it's your house. You're welcome to stay. Just don't scare us, and they did, but I don't think it was ever like with ill intent,
Right.
But yeah. What about you, Angela? You ever have anything follow you home?
I agree with Ash. Like, I don't have a definitive, like, a big thing happened, like some feeling pushed. Occasionally you get that feeling of like, maybe there's something here. And I usually just tell it, you're not welcome. You have to go. I'm pretty careful about when I leave a location, about what I do. And I also volunteer at a cemetery. So I'm pretty careful about, like when I show up to the cemetery, I always say hi. When I leave, I tell them bye. And when I leave a location, I tell them thank you, and you have to stay here. You're not allowed to follow me home. I also have a sage spray that I make so that sometimes you can't burn sage. So I have a sage spray that I use. And if I feel like a location might have somebody that wants to hang on, I give myself a little spray and, touch grass and tell it has to stay. And then I go. So I haven't had too many problems so far, knock on wood.
Yeah. Hello, Miss Sandra. Sandra has been with me since day one. So everybody say hi to Miss Sandra.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah. You're talking about the sage spray. Do you guys do anything to protect yourselves, whether you're going or leaving an investigation?
I do a lot of grounding work before I go. Now, I openly admit that because I'm at the 1858 Garnett House Hotel so frequently that I don't do it nearly as often as what I probably should. But I think it's because the spirits know me and they know that I'll be back in a couple weeks. So
yeah, there's no use in following you home, right? You're gonna be right back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Look, I'm gonna put you in my backpack. I'm gonna take you back home anyway. So,
right,
but it also because I'm very comfortable with the spirits there, and I know that I don't have anything to worry about. But when I leave a location, especially Garnett, I do always make sure I go room to room and I tell all the spirits, all right, guys, I'm out of here. I'll see you in a couple weeks. So,
Yeah.
What about you, Ash? Do you do anything special or?
Um, I work on the grounding. That's not something I was too particularly great at. I am kind of the same way though. Any location that we enter, I do try to, make my presence known, say hello, let them know I'm not here to hurt, not here to provoke, and after an investigation, to the best of my ability, go from room to room. It does vary by location and its size, or at least the areas that we visited, and had interactions with and did, equipment with. I will say goodbye. There are certain stones that I have pending the location, like Angie had mentioned with, Garnett, we are there so frequently. We know the spirits that if I need to go drive and drop you off, I will. But newer locations or somewhere where there, some pretty bad or nasty things had happened that I'm not, completely grounded with. Yeah, I will take some crystals, some stones. I do have a little pocket heart in my wallet that I keep, of my stepmom. So that's kind of like my own little protection thing that I take with me.
Okay. And Angela, do you do anything special?
Yeah, I've been a yoga teacher doing yoga for like 13 or 14 years, and I'm a Reiki practitioner. So I do a lot of grounding and meditation sorts of things. And I also, I have a necklace and I have a ring that was my grandmother's, that I have kind of, put a sigil over and, power up every so often. Yeah. And sometimes I have stones that I carry with me depending on where I'm going. And if I think if it's a new location, especially if I think I might need it. And then, like I said, the clearing at the end, with the sage spray, or more than that if I need to.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't done a lot of investigations. I've done a few. Like I've gone to the Haunted Hill House here in Texas, which is pretty
oh,
cool. And I've gone to a couple of other haunted locations here in Texas that aren't very well known. And I've even gone to a few cemeteries. But one thing I've learned is that I don't experience too much if I protect myself going in. So I kind of like let everybody else do that, and I'll kind of stand off to the side, kind of like don't participate too much, but still kind of participate a little bit, and that's always worked for me. you know but one thing I did want to ask Ash in particular, because you mentioned cemeteries, right?
Hmm.
What do you think about investigating cemeteries? Because every now and then you'll see people say, hey, don't do that, you shouldn't be doing that. And but some people are like, hey, go for it, right, and do it. And I'm someone who has gone and done it. And for me, if I'm going there being respectful, especially to a cemetery where probably nobody else goes and visits, I think it's okay. What are your thoughts on that?
So I am perfectly fine with cemeteries. I have not done a whole lot.
Hmm.
I do not agree with, desecrating graves,
Right.
destroying property. Whether it has a headstone or not, it is extremely disrespectful. And I can't imagine what sort of potential spiritual repercussions can come from that.
Right.
I think as long as people are respectful, or they have like a purpose, then cemeteries to me are perfectly fine to do. You could get something, you could get nothing.
Right.
It could be a whole bag of mixed things that could happen at
Right.
cemeteries.
And,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
I kind of think that same way. If you're going there and you're being respectful, if a spirit wants to interact with you, they're going to interact with you, and that really goes for any location in general.
Right.
If they want to
Absolutely.
interact with you, they're going to interact with you. So I think as long as you're being respectful, it really doesn't. Uh,
I volunteer at a cemetery here in town,
yeah.
and so I'm there a lot, and I have investigated it, like officially investigated it, but I've also had experiences while I'm there But I agree with Ash. Like, just be respectful, and I've honestly, and I think people think it's going to be like it's dark and scary there, and it's not. Like, it's really peaceful there, actually. And as long as you don't provoke, and I always, no matter where I'm at, like I'm not a provoking person, so I always talk to them like you would talk to a person on this side, or I'm not going to yell at them. And in fact, the cemetery that I'm at, we have a medium come once a year, and it's a historic cemetery, so we do have giant vaults where people used to put their coffins, and they're still used, but there's one there that was kind of a model, so people could come in and see. And so it doesn't doesn't belong to anybody. It's the cemeteries, and so it's pretty big. You can fit, I don't know, 35 people in there. So we have kind of a quote, we call it a seance in the cemetery, but we have a medium come out, and people come out, and she does readings for them in the cemetery. And of course, there's always controversy about, some people get really upset about that we do that. But the medium that we have come out is very, she's 100% legitimate. She's given me some crazy readings that there's no way she could know that. And then she's also done some readings about things in the cemetery that kind of pop in and pop out. But yeah, we're very respectful of the people that are there.
Okay, well, good. So we're coming up towards the end of the show, but I got a few little fun questions I'd like to ask you, if you don't mind. Okay.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So if you could spend the night either in an extremely haunted house, asylum, prison, whatever, or if you could spend one night in the deep woods where Bigfoot has known to be found and sightings have been plentiful, which location would you go to?
Give me a haunted house any day, because I don't do eight-legged creepy crawlers. Bigfoot, you know what? I'm your bestie, but I don't do eight-legged creepy crawlers.
Okay.
Well, at least I'm honest.
That's right. Okay.
So I would have to go the woods, because that would be something new, and to be able to potentially become besties with Bigfoot, maybe.
Or
Well,
dinner, but
yeah, I think that would be an opportunity of a lifetime to be able to try.
Okay, so are we doing this completely by ourselves, or are people with us?
by yourself, alone.
Oh, by myself. I was going to say woods, but nope, not by myself.
Not by yourself.
So I'd take a haunted house. Yeah.
Okay.
But after last night, I think I can.
Yeah.
What's your favorite piece of paranormal equipment?
My dead bell.
Okay.
I would have to go with dowsing rods.
I don't know if I have a favorite piece, to be honest. I used to have a recorder for EVPs, and it broke, and I still haven't replaced it. So I would say that, but maybe it's not, because I still haven't replaced it.
Okay. And who on the team is most likely to say, "Did you hear that?"
I know. I'm like, probably either me or Angela.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
So
great.
I don't hear very well. And so they are both Angie and Angela are very much more in tune when it comes to audio. And if I am asking, did you hear that? It's more like one of kind of, did you hear that? Because I don't know.
There you go. Okay.
They're actually hearing it. I am halfway probably deaf. So.
Okay. Yeah,
But
join the
Angela
club.
was amazing with the Estes method.
Yes,
She
they are
does- yeah,
absolutely
I guess I
amazing.
do.
with
Yeah,
that.
I would say Estes. Yeah.
I say you do amazing with that.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that would probably be my favorite, like the Xbox type thing. So yeah.
And who would be the first to volunteer to go down into a dark basement alone? And-
Yeah.
okay.
I'm the one that says, let's go.
Yep, hands down. You wouldn't even be able to get the sentence out. Who wants to? And it's
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to talk about anything you want to talk about as far as your social media, how people can get in contact with you, where they can find you guys?
Yeah. So we are on Facebook. We are on TikTok. We are on YouTube. All of those we can be found through Twisted Memories Paranormal. If by chance you want to email us, you can email us at twistedmemoriesparanormal@gmail.com. I mean, I'm the one right now that kind of runs all of our social media. I do go back to work. I work for a school district, so school will be going back shortly. So if I don't respond right away, bear with me. I will get there. And we did just hit 1,000 followers on our TikTok. So we did promise our followers that once we hit that threshold, we would be doing a giveaway. So we will be doing a contest on our social media pages. So
Nice. Okay, cool. Well, when you get ready to do that, if you want me to help promote it, just tag me in it and I'll share it for you too.
definitely, we'd love that.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
One more question I was going to ask you and I forgot it. God almighty, I hate getting old. I'll remember when I get off and I have to mess. I don't think it was anything important, but yeah, guys, thanks a lot for doing the show. I do appreciate it. If you guys need anything from me, just please feel free, reach out to me and I'll share anything you guys want me to share. I'll help promote you guys. I have no problem doing that at all. So yeah, you guys.
We appreciate that. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much.
And everyone else listening, if you guys have any stories, any encounters you want to share with me, just shoot me an email at beyond.woodline@gmail.com. I love to hear your stories, so just send them to me. And if you have any requests that you want me to go over or guests you want me to have on, yeah, shoot me an email. I'd be happy to do your bidding. Good night, everyone, and God bless. Thank you, Miss Sandra, for tuning in. You guys hold on. Don't go anywhere. I want to talk to you a little bit after we get off the show. All right, everyone, you have a good night. And again, thank you guys for tuning in. For being guests.